Welcome to the garage. I hope you've subscribed to the channel by now. Today we are replacing the axle bushings for the front upper control arms. I'm showing you the one on the passenger side there. And I've got all these tools out in front of me. I've done this job before on the Jeep TJ, and it is basically brute force, whatever method you can figure out to use that'll work to get these bushings out. It's going to be a struggle, but the reason to do it is getting some slop in my steering response. It's not bump steer, it's certainly not death wobble, but it seems like it's sluggish and slow. And I'm pretty sure the reason for that is that the bushings are wearing and there's some play between the upper control arms and the axle. And hey, Google AI tends to agree with me. So we're going to go ahead and knock this project out. For starters, the Jeep is staying on the ground. I'm not lifting it up at all. I have the benefit of 33-inch tires, 2.5-inch lift, so I've got plenty of clearance on the ground to get underneath and work on it without having to lift it up. Keeping it on the ground is going to make things a lot easier. Shouldn't have to do a lot of work to get the holes to line up when we're all done. On the passenger side, the frame side of the upper control arm is nestled right in front of the catalytic converter, so I have to use an extension to get at the bolt. There's a flag nut on the backside, so you don't have to worry about getting a wrench on the backside. I'm going to just loosen this bolt up so that I can swing the upper control arm out of the way when I fully remove the bolt that's on the axle side. And I just used a bungee to secure the control arm up to the lower radiator hose. That'll keep it as far away as I can get it. When I did this on the TJ, on the passenger side, this one actually came out with just using the ball joint press because it's not solid metal in between the two edges. It's just a couple of ears on the bracket, so there's not a lot of metal that this could be rusted into. So I'm going to give the ball joint press a try. Hopefully that'll work, and if that doesn't work, we'll just have to get more and more destructive until we can get this thing out of there. And this bushing needs to be pressed out towards the center of the Jeep. Holy crap, it just exploded out of there. Well, awesome. All's well that ends well. All right, just to show you a comparison, this is the brand new bushing. This is the old bushing. You can see there's some cracking around the outer edge of the bushing, the old one, but not terrible. I mean, it's not totally pulling apart from the metal sleeve. This one, of course, is brand new. And then on the inside, maybe it's pulling away a little bit, I guess, but it really doesn't look that terrible. So I don't know if this is actually going to end up solving my problem, but the nice thing on the passenger side, the bushing only sits snug and pressed in on a couple of areas, these two shoulders, and it came out pretty easily once I got the ball joint press all configured so that it would actually press out. Now this bushing has been in the deep freeze for quite some time, and hopefully it has shrunk a little bit to make it easier to slide it in to the frame or to the axle bracket. So that's condensing now from all the ice. But first, I'm going to throw this back in the freezer. I'm going to go and clean up the bracket on the axle. Before I go press the new bushing in, I'm going to clean up the bracket on the axle with my Dremel tool and a sanding pad. Not going to put any gouges or anything in it, just a light sand just to get all the rough spots off so it'll slide in smoothly. I'll also put a little bit of grease on the bracket, so hopefully it'll slide in smoothly as well. And then it doesn't get pressed in flush. If you paid attention to the old one before you removed it, you'd know that it's actually going to sit a little bit away from the bracket. So take a look at that before you pull the old one out, just so you know what to expect when you press it back in. And then I think the ball joint press will do great to make sure it gets fully seated. The passenger side is done. In the big scheme of things, it was pretty simple. Ball joint press was all that was required. The time is really just getting the ball joint press set up. You're lifting it up, it's heavy, getting all the right pieces in the right order, and then just cranking down on it to get it to come out and get it to come in. But that's done. I tightened up the control arm, but I didn't torque it yet. I'll just torque all 4 bolts at the same time. Now we'll shift over to the driver's side. First thing, it's the same. It's really the same general idea as the passenger side. This one's going to be harder though, I think. But first, just loosen up the rear bolt so that I can swing the upper control arm up out of the way, remove the bolt that's on the differential, and get that upper control arm out of the way. Just like on the other side, the bushing does not go flush up against the bracket. It sticks out. It's actually my finger width back, so sticks back quite a bit. But you can also see there is rubber bushings protruding on the other side as well. So we kind of use that as a gauge of what it should look like when we get this all done. I'm going to try the ball joint press first, and this one you'll be pressing it away from the center, so towards the tire, because that's where the big shoulder is. You're not going to be able to get it to go through that way. It's got to go that way. Well, I got the dumb thing out. It took me 4 hours and 10 minutes to get that thing out. Needless to say, it did not fare very well. I just had to beat the crap out of it, cave it in. So this was this side is where the tire is. This is on the other side towards the center of the Jeep. You know, cave in all this stuff. I drilled out the center. Here's the center. Drilled that out, pressed it out. I don't have any good advice. I probably did it really wrong. There's probably a super easy way to do it. I don't know what it is. It's just plan for it to take a long time. That's my experience. But now I just need to go clean up that hole, and then hopefully pressing the new one in will be a lot smoother. So now I'll do the best that I can to get the Dremel tool in there and clean up that hole. Now I'll go ahead and put some grease inside that bore. Hopefully the bushing will slide in there pretty smoothly, and then I'll use the press to press it in. And remember, it was about a finger's width from the shoulder of the bushing to the actual bracket there on the axle that it's going to protrude on the tire side. So it's not going to go all the way in. After trying for way too long to use the ball joint press to get the bushing back in, I tried something different. So let me give you a couple of tips. First, I should have done this way in the beginning. Lift the frame, or lift the Jeep up on at least on the driver's side, by the frame so that the axle can droop as far as it can. That will give you a lot more room. It'll probably be way easier to get the bushing out. It won't make it harder to get the bushing out, that's for sure. You'll have some clearance, even being able to work from the front if you let it droop down. Secondly, putting the bushing back in, I spent way too long with the ball joint press in the end. I just lined it up, tapped it with my mallet to get it started, and then just pounded it in, going around it, you know, top, bottom, side, and side, and hit it pretty good, and it just went in. And when you look at it, just using the mallet, got it all the way in. and it's exactly where it needs to be, a little bit sticking out on the inside towards the center of the Jeep, and about a finger widths apart on the tire side. So just use a hammer. It worked just fine. So now that the bushing's in, all that's left is to drop the jack so that the Jeep is sitting completely on its tires. Then put that lower control arm back in place with the bolt and the nut, and then tighten up the bolts, both on the axle side and the frame side, and then torque all 4 bolts to 75 foot-pounds. And once you're done with that, you're complete. All right, I'm gonna give you an engine bay shot. You don't want to see me. I have been working on this thing for 10 hours, maybe. I'll put in the caption how long I totally spent on this thing. Way too long. I am super sweaty. You don't want to see my ugly mug. We're done though. Now all that's left to do is go take it for a test drive and see if that actually addressed any of my steering issues. I will leave a caption here on the video, let you know how that worked out. But hopefully the video is helpful, useful, give you a couple of tips on how to replace the front axle side upper control arm bushings on the Jeep JK. I'd say it's a little bit harder than when I did it on the TJ, but I think on the passenger side, what I showed you is probably the quickest way to do it, but definitely a couple tricks that I learned the hard way on the driver's side, so hopefully you can make use of those. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to the channel, or give it a thumbs up at least. If you want to financially support me, I'd appreciate it, and you can do that with the super thanks button on the video or buymeacoffee.com. Either way, until the next video, you all take care and have a good one.